Alright people, next video in the build process. Had a bit of a mental break then. We're going to fit the Raid Garage fuel tank going under the seat here. So I'm not going to bore you by every step of the way, but I'll give you a rundown of what you get, and then you know, a bit of a time-lapse thing while I strip it apart, a bit more in detail as I put it back together, and we'll go from there. So it shouldn't be too long a video. It looks quite easy to fit, fairly straightforward. I'm going to do a few things differently to what they recommend, only from advice from certain people, James and Alex. So yeah, it'll be a little bit different to what probably some of you have done when you fitted it yourselves. But anyway, let's get into it. So this is what we got. New airbox, gets rid of the big chunky one under the seat obviously. Cage goes inside the air filter. I got a few spare air filters. You can never have too many air filters this day and age, although we haven't had much dust with all the rain. That's the adapter for the fuel pump, which I'm not going to use. I'll explain why later. Some hoses, hardware, heat-proof tape, strap to hold the tank in, and importantly, the tank. They claim it holds 6 litres. From what I've heard, it's about 5 usable. But anyway, that's everything. So let's get cracking. Factory airbox, you saw me just pull it out. The factory snorkel has to come out of here, so you just loosen that clamp, pull it out. Intake sensor here again, out of the standard airbox. 2 torque screws, take it out, and put this aside somewhere now. Grab the new airbox, holes here for the sensor. Now this is all plastic, so don't go hanging off everything, because you'll just tear the threads out of everything. So put that in. Excuse me. That's what excuse for a sneeze, wasn't it? Alright, so screwed in. Let me turn the music down a little bit. Alright. Same deal, I need to get this back in. So squash it, one of the videos, jam it in. There's a bit of a casting mark there, it's got to line up with that casting mark. On there. Pretty self-explanatory, it's got to be in the middle. Alright. Lift that clamp back up, bottom one. Now it's rubber and plastic, so don't get too carried away. Alright, so make sure you put that screw the right way, otherwise you're going to struggle to get the fucker back on. So, like that. Alright. The next part, filters. Pre-oiled. Lots of people put gloves on to do this shit. I don't care about getting dirty. Now obviously they come pre-oiled. Get out of the way. The hole's offset, so make sure you put the frame in the right way. So frame, hole, jam it into the filter. Make sure it's in properly. Don't be shy with it, you're not they're not as fragile as you think they are. Alright, see, beautiful. Obviously that lines up with that. And this. Now I'm not a fan, this stainless steel going into aluminium nutsert. Not a big, I don't think that's the smartest move. But it is what it is. So I would be extremely careful screwing that in and out. It's horrible to say I'd almost pull it out of the bike every time I did it because I don't trust nutserts at the best of times, let alone when you're doing it into aluminium. Alright, so that's the airbox assembled. We've got a clear hose here, which we're going to run up to breathe. So whack that baby on. Alright, there we go. Part of the installation finished. Looks racy, doesn't it? Alright, so we'll go and fit this bit back to the bike and then move on to the next piece of the puzzle. Alright, so back over here at the bike, this hose, clear bit here, has got a feed. So effectively, the airbox is going to sit like that, yeah? So you've got to find somewhere out of the way to feed that hose to join back up to the side of the cover up here where my hand's tapping, because that's what runs. No, I don't like that either. So we'll come, make sure you don't trap the clutch line. Righto. And before you get too carried away, make sure you plug the air temp sensor in. Line the clamp up under here. When you push it in, make sure you hear it or feel a definite it's on. Now do yourself a favour, tighten everything up as you do it. Nothing worse than you come back. Oh, you know what I forgot? Very, very not silly. Hang on a second. Look at that, like a pre-filter for the air filter. So we'll just pop that back off because it'll make it easier. There we go, now she's right. Oops, clamps come off. Careful pulling on this too, the air temp sensor's still plugged in. There we go. Come down here. Hold the clamp. Now people, you don't have to strip the clamp doing these up, they're rubber. So nice and firm, but you don't have to, you know, pretend you're stripping the, give it a good wiggle, make sure it's all on. Alright, so the next trick is to cut this hose got to join. I'll bring the camera in, you can see where it's got to join. Come on. I'll try not to sing, don't panic. Alright, so then trim this hose to suit there. Beautiful. There we go. So the airbox side of it's done. Now we'll get the tank ready. So not a whole lot to get the tank ready. Here we are again. So the main thing is, need to get the Velcro strap ready. Remove all this junk. Put the heat-proof stuff on the bottom of here, obviously, so that you don't get dew heat coming up from the well, I thought that would be easier to cut. Let me make a meal of this. Crazy. Don't get carried away, Sammy. So we might have to trim this out a little bit more. It actually doesn't cut very well with the scissors. That was a little bit agricultural, that was. That fits rather shit. My OCD's not going to like that. That's my cutter. Alright, next thing, fuel hose. Obviously put the fuel hose on before you put in the bike, because that's going to be an absolute prick to do in there. I would almost bet impossible. tank bracket, which is this, goes here. So you see there's a hole here, 2 bolts the same size, so it's got to go in there like that. So we'll get the required hardware, plus an Allen key, people. So I don't know how this works, but this bolt doesn't actually, it just locates. I personally would have done something differently, but that's how it is. So this bracket is what the tank will sit on. Oh, we don't want that. Don't drop anything in the hole. Hence why I make sure the airbox is on first, people. Now, I've lost one of my Allen keys. Good old fold out, baby. Probably should give it a good clean while this is all off. Alright. Alright, next part, put the tank in. Now, this flat bit goes on the mount here, and this ridge here goes on the piece of tube. So I fed the fuel hose down out of the way, and then I forgot to put the strap, Velcro strap on yet. Let's do that first, hang on. From memory, where did I put it? Under here, from memory. Is it? Oh, no. I did look it up. Alright, so in gently. Alright. And the strap goes through there like that. And we're all nearly there, people. No more fuel anxiety. There we go. So the only thing left to do now is put the seat mounts back in. The seat now sits on here, so you don't have to put these side braces back on. And the fancy, so not only is the bike faster because it's red, there'll be a nice carbon fibre piece here, so that'll make it go faster. Now once you get to this stage, do yourself a favour, put the fuel cap on so you don't drop something in there, and there we go. So that's about it. There's no point going into the boring bits of putting all the side covers and all that shit back on. I'll just do a little bit of a time lapse showing all that, but pretty much that's it. Fill it up and away you go. Now, I said I'd explain to you why I'm not using this piece. Okay, so the reasoning, Pete and Alex both taught me this, and a few people have mentioned it, but I never really listened to these two. That goes underneath the fuel pump. So, and then the fuel goes through the tap and then down to this. So what they suggest to do, and what a lot of other people have done apparently, is you run this up to the factory breather inside the tank. You drill that out, put a bigger breather in it when you get the billet cap, which I'm waiting for. Then this will drain in through that breather, and then it drains this tank first, then uses the back tank. So otherwise you use this, if you turn the tap on obviously, then it drains both tanks at the same level. So at least this way you sort of use the front tank, and then it uses the back tank, and then when the reserve light comes on, you know you're in the shit. But yeah, so that's the reasoning for not using this adapter block. Alright, hope that makes sense. Alright people, there it is, finished. So the fuel cap there, the seat is very tight here. I'm not sure what it's like on the 690, but very tight here. Nice bit of carbon. And I plumbed all this bit in, but no point really showing you people. But, so fuel tap here, line coming in, and yeah, fix up a few other little bits.